Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and we are in From the Depths designer. Just checking out torpedoes as we mentioned in a previous video. Just looking at what is required to get torpedoes to attack underwater vehicles that may go very deep into the water. There is obviously other ways of doing this, but I'm looking specifically at the missile effects. So the basic problem we have is that basically missiles like to float, and it's difficult. We have to force them underwater to get the target. Now there's multiple ways of doing that, multiple targeting ways, and there's a number of areas that I've tried, and I'll show you what has been effective. So if we go to one of my starter areas, we just walk to the chair there. Right, so I've just adapted my previous little missile platform to put a turreted missile system on there. The turreted is so that we haven't got to worry about using one turns, it will aim at the target. The missile targeting, so we've got multiple warheads here, 4 warheads with different targeting. Laser designator with the laser at the front, the laser beam rider, so it should try and ride the beam. Where have we here? We have an infrared and we have a sonar. Now all of these are fairly similar build in that they have basically just about 3/4 of their volume is held up with torpedoes and fins. These are 8 block missiles and they have 6 torpedo propellers and 6 fins. The reason for both, you need both fins and propellers in my testing, is one of the primary issues is ensuring, especially for deep targets, that the targeting in front of the missile continues to point at the target at all times. If it goes outside of the cone of effect, it basically becomes a dumbfire missile and it just goes straight ahead and forgets about the target. So it needs to be pointing down. Now the fins help to keep pointing the missile pointing at the target. I have tried augmented guidance as well, and I've found that it does help, but I've found so far that the fins work the best. Even with the augmented, you still need a lot of fins to make sure it points downwards. The augment will try to point it downwards, but the water just resists and it wants to stay going straight and level. The amount of propellers are required to basically go against the float effect of the missile. Well, yes, there are ballast tanks available, and we'll just look at that in a second. They do work, but they have some limitations. So these are surface missiles, no ballast tanks. So if we just see how it goes against, there's various targets out there. So we'll see which ones are the targets it picks at the moment. It may go for a high level target or a low level. So a couple of the ones that have gone upwards are the sonar and the beam rider. They immediately seem to just not like trying to track the targets, and I've gone just out, and I don't know why those targeting. The laser, as you can see, as it gets close to the target, it starts angling down and it starts forcing the missile downwards towards the target, which is what we want it to do, until eventually, there we go, and the proximity will just help to make sure that it actually does hit the target. So these are generally working on this target. You can see this one here, it's going for the lower target. It gets to a point and then is forced downwards. That must have been an infrared one. The lasers obviously only goes for the laser target, and the infrared will choose its own. So this may be the infrared. You can see it pointing down, and it gets to a point where the propellers actually provide enough force to force it downwards, and it can go vertically down. at that point. Here we've got some more. Once again. So on this target we have the sonar is just going straight over. It doesn't quite keep the guidance enough. It's got a much shorter cone and can't keep guiding itself. Laser ones actually will actually do a U-turn if it comes to it. So we'll just see once it gets to some deeper targets. Once this gets damaged enough, you can see it's starting to go down now. Hopefully it will start sinking to the bottom, and we'll see what it's like against deeper level targets. But there we go. Nice big boom. Oh, I missed my screenshot. Big boom and I missed the screenshot. Let's get some stability here. So it's still doing it. As this will hopefully start to sink, it's still going to be going for it in the designer. It doesn't have a concept of no longer viable. So they're continuing to point downwards. Sonar just goes over. It can't keep that pointing downwards. So sonar and beam rider just I find are not as effective. And the deeper you get, the less effective they become. So infrared and laser seem to be the two torpedoes of choice. The proximity, just to make sure that it at least gets a chance of hitting them. I've mainly got these are explosive missiles, I think, so it's starting to go down now. We have got some other targets out there once this one has been taken out, so we'll just let it continue. That's about what we'll do, just to make this slightly even more effective, is we'll make them all the same laser guided on this moment, because we know it works. And you can see what it's like when it goes for the much deeper targets. So as you can see, even at this stage it is trying to point downwards. This missile is trying to get itself down. It's going along and it's getting to a point where it's getting a 45-degree or whatever angle is required, and it actually starts to be forced downwards by the propellers. There we go. Looks like it's just about to get there, and you can see this target's actually quite deep now, and gets to the end and just pulls itself in. Which is, so it's fairly effective in that regard. And this target will be a good example of the next issue. Right, if we just turn them off for a second. The use of ballast tanks. So we can use ballast tanks. All they do is they start the torpedo down a little ways. We turn the interface on. So if you want to be able to go further up or down from that particular point, you still need the same number of fins or propellers. What you could do is, if you know your target's going to be between 50 to 0, you could fit your system with a different number of ballast tanks. So if I just go down as an example, we'll fit one in here at -10, and then this one can have 2 at -10, so that will cover the 20 area. This one can have 3. Now we can't get rid of too many propellers, because it's still got to be able to force its way down once it gets the target. But we'll see another minor issue with this in a minute, and this one can have 4. So this will be the 40, travel at 40 and find its target. Now the good part about this is that it will find tracking its target that much easier. So if we now just let it go for a target, and we'll see where it's going to go for. So the missiles will set themselves up at different ranges, which is fine. At different heights, so depending on how many ballast tanks they've got. Now they are still slightly facing downwards. But this is where sometimes some of the, certainly the deeper ones, where we've had to sacrifice fins for them. That one, it was fine at the height. The top ones still had enough fins and to get down. So that was cool for them. But we could have done that with just having enough fins and propellers. They didn't need the ballast. That one they've decided to go for a different target. Okay, we'll have to follow them, see what target they want. What's their target they're now going for? Over here somewhere. That's the laser designated, decided that another target was more important. Oh, is it this one here? No, no. Okay, let's see where you're aiming at. Where are you aiming? Where are you aiming? Let's follow the laser. It's the easiest way. There we go. It's going for this target, which is, looks like he's around about 30, 40 years, going slightly upwards. Does the laser change target designation again? Oh. Sorry about this. That's the laser obviously is, because of the it's finding different ranges and changing its mind as it goes around. There we go. Here's another one. Where is the target? There is the target. That's the target. One here. Cool. Let's make it go down a little further. That one now no longer has enough fins and couldn't come down enough on that particular target. That's what I believe happened there. So that's where the ballast tanks, you're sacrificing the fins for a starting height. Okay, so anyway, I did a bit of testing. So generally ballast tanks do work, and you could do it by doing those. I also found a problem with ships which were nearer the surface, in that with the ballast tanks it couldn't actually, if you sacrifice those fins, it also can't force itself upwards again to try and attack the targets. Some examples I have worked on, what I have found is effective, is two sizes, a couple of sizes, is an 8 fin. This is the 8 fin. So 1, 2, 3, we've got 6 propellers, 6 fins. Explosive warhead, fragmentation, laser designated. Now this could be infrared. I've done laser designated, but you could do this as an infrared. These are all the same, these three, and just to show what they can be like, this is Torp 8. We'll turn it on, see where it's going to aim at. And we'll see, hopefully there's a deep target down here somewhere. The other element you have to balance with all of these is fuel and any other targeting that you may want to or have to put into there. I've lost the Torps. There you go. What are they going for? So he's heading along. He's still pointing downwards slightly at the moment, and as we get closer, that angle is increasing with the 6 fins. So now he's getting close to that 30-45 degrees. Once it gets to get to a certain point, there we go, and now it starts to force itself down. So he's forcing himself down to this target. Now this is a very deep target, and they've actually run out of fuel getting here. So what's that distance? That's 800 fuel. Okay, so there is a little unexpected. We'll turn that off for a second. So that's their basic problem. It's taken so long to get there, we've had to sacrifice some fuel. So we're going to have to put some fuel in here. So we'll sacrifice one of the warheads to put some more fuel in. You could potentially sacrifice a fin, but you risk the chance of it not being able to reach the target, and we'll do that with one just to see, so we can keep the explosive warhead in there. Sometimes it's okay, but it's difficult. You could also sacrifice, actually in fact what we'll do is we'll sacrifice the, we'll leave the fin because I think that's important. We'll sacrifice the proximity for some fuel instead. There we go, so we've still got 2 warheads. Right, here we go. So we've got 1 without proximity and 2 with. We'll see how these go. So there's no ballast, so they are close to the surface on this, which could have a plus or minus effect. You could put 1 ballast tank in there, but again, you're sacrificing the fins and the or propellers, both which could be needed. So even without the proximity, this is still facing downwards quite nicely. Here they go, down, down, deeper and down, and boom. The one without the warhead also hit as well. The reason I have the proximity is because of explosive warheads work better with the proximities. Here's some more coming in. So you can see how they're arcing straight down on the target. Quite nice and effective. But not many warheads, but they are at least working. Without the proximity, see that one missed without the proximity. Whereas if it had the proximity, at least that one would have actually impacted in some way. We can put fragmentation, there's a fragmentation firing, and a couple of normal ones that missed. So yeah, we'll just go back and you can have a look again at that build. So that was over 800, so that would have been, this would go out to about 1600. So it's quite a long range missile. If you only want 800, take out fuel tank and put in some more warheads, and that would be good for up to 800 meters. So 6 propellers, 5 fins just worked, did work actually in this thing, but I would keep with this with that's 5. You know, I would go with 6 in shorter range. It would be better. So there we managed it with 5, but it was a bit tight near the end, and some were missing, in my view. Okay, next one is we have a 12. Now, the advantage, there is a couple of advantages of the 12 with some of the targets. So if we look at this again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 propellers, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fins. So 8 of each. A bit more fuel, and this has got quite a few warheads, more warheads in this. It goes a little slower, which actually aids the aiming, and stops it getting out of the cone. So if we just fire these off, we'll turn off those, and hopefully there's some target out there for these. Now these again are laser designated, so I can follow the laser and they were following it. So here we can see they coming along, they are aiming downwards, hopefully trying to keep track of the target. Looks like the target isn't too deep at first. What's the distance so far? That's 400. We'll have to see how far away this target is. This one's just here, and it's 600 meters away. So these come down, and they're the same as the others. They come over the top, and then they hit with quite a bit of power with the extra warheads. The advantage of the 12 is that it can pack more warheads in there. I felt it was a bigger potential missile, although the 8 can fit 2, potentially 3. I would say 2. These are for that 8 are putting a couple, I think it was 6 or so in there, so they are quite considerably better. Now, okay, it's gone for a different target now, so I just need to go and find what target it's changing it for. It's found one with more blocks. Let's have a look. Get down the end of here. Oh, another one got stuck on the water, but these are quite deep. And it's working quite effectively, I think. Now what we will try to do now, I'm just going to do one last change. Okay, so we turn it off. Now what we're going to do is one very deep target. Now the easiest way to do this is if I pull all on this map and then just bring in the Torp 12. We're bringing the Torp 8 as well, but we'll talk so we can compare it. So these are here. Now we go and find a nice deep spot that they can both fire at. Where would be good for them? Just over here, I think. So we're going all the way down to here. And then we're going to release a target at this range and let them go for it. So we'll load the drone. I'm also going to load one of the targets, which is quite a large piece of metal, and then we'll turn them on. We can see that they're targeting this, and they've gone for the this one here, which is, as I say, is going up. But we should see a significant number of missiles if he did try to. Where's that laser? There we are. Let's see these come in. This is the 12s and the 8s, combining those together, so both of them should be firing on this. Let's see how they do. How far away are we? We're 800 meters away. And here they come, here they come. So they're aiming down, and oh, one just aimed a little short. And this is the 12s, and are they just not quite got the range? They're running out of range. They needs to be a little closer then. Okay, let's give them a slightly closer target. Where are those? Where are they? Here they are. So we'll put one down here, right near the ocean floor, a little closer for them. There we go. Let's try load a vehicle. How far away are we now? 500. Okay, that's a little closer. And I'll do the same. I'll load the target as well. We'll slowly go up, but it should stay near the floor. There we go. So even though we are significantly underneath, those missiles did do a nice bit of damage on that target. It's falling back down again, so we'll be able to see whether it continues to do on those targets. See if we can get to attack it again. I think it's most probably gone for one of those other two which are slightly out of range. Oh no, we are down here somewhere. It is targeting one of them. Fortunately, under the water, it's very difficult to see where it's targeting. So let's go back to the ship and follow the targeting laser. This is its target. Again, quite significantly under the water, although it is slowly floating upwards. It was designed to float, so me launching it at this sort of height is just oh, there they are. Oh, it's changed target again. Where's its target? Where's its target? Where's it going for? Ah, here. Now hopefully it'll go for a different target in a second. Let's take it off. Let's see what it'll go for. I am digressing. Okay, see, there we go. Nice and deep target. That's come in quite nicely. Let me just go back to my little starting point. So, hopefully that's may have answered some questions, or if anyone's got some ideas on how to use missiles to get targets that are deep underwater. This same process could be applied to dropped bombs. Obviously, the bombs would have an initial downward force to help them go underneath initially and be in the right area, but I think they would still benefit from having the torpedoes and fins to ensure once they're dropped and aimed at the target, they can force themselves down. Now, I would guess that a bomb drop would just need the propellers, not so many fins. If it's aimed at the target initially, it will drop and just go straight for it. So that could be how ship launched depth charges could work, or aircraft launch depth charges in that particular fashion. Hopefully this has been useful to people. If people have got any questions or want me to test something out in this particular missile area, please leave a comment below. If you liked it, please click the like button, and please subscribe so you can find out when the next one's coming. Until then, goodbye and have fun.